video series that'll be coming up on Mondays called the Monday Must Knows. In this series, I'm going to teach you things that you need to know to be a good and effective beader. We're going to start off today with something that seems very elementary and very basic, but every week I get the same question: how do I thread my needle? So what I want to do today is go through some different needles, show you the different needles, show you my technique on how I thread those needles, and kind of tell you what threads will work best for what needles. So I hope you enjoyed the very first installment of our Monday Must Know. Needles, needles, and more needles. What you see in front of you are all different types of needles. To start out with, you need to understand about the sizes of the needles, like a size 10, a size 12, a size 13. With the needles, the bigger the number, the smaller the hole in the head of the needle, and the thinner the needle gets. So a size 10 beading needle has a pretty good size hole in the top of it. Okay, so it's got a pretty good size hole, and it's a nicer, stiffer needle. I already have one here, and a needle's not good till you get it bent to how you use it. So this is a size 10. It's a nice stiff needle it is bendable. It is definitely bendable, but it is easier to thread, and you just all around have a little bit of an easier time with it. A size 12 needle has a little bit of a smaller head to it, as you can see here in the picture, and the needle is a little bit more flimsier. They're really good when you're working with size 11s, 15s, size 13 seed beads. Okay, so these are really good for that. Then it goes down to a size 13 needle, and as you can see, they have little tiny holes. And this is a very flimsy needle. So you're going to go through these needles a lot more. With the needles, a size 10 beading needle will work good with 4-pound thread, 6-pound thread, 8-pound thread, and even a 10-pound thread. Okay, so a size 10 beading needle will work well for all of these. A size 12 beading needle will work good for a 4, a 6, and an 8-pound thread. And even with the 8-pound, you're getting a little iffy. The size 13 needles work really good for a 4-pound thread. Okay? So that gives you a little example of the different sizes, and they do make them in different various sizes. They also make them in different lengths. This is a size 12, so it's a size 12 needle, but it's what they call a sharp. Okay, a sharp is a shorter needle, and I'll put the two here up against each other. This is a regular needle, and this is a sharp, so you can see the difference. Sharps are a little bit shorter and stiffer and work really well when you are trying to get through some tight spaces and some smaller spaces. Another needle that's very popular with beaders is the big eye needle. Now the big eye needle, this is a standard size needle here, and then it also comes in a variety pack where you can get much bigger needles. And I already have one here on my mat to show you. With a big eye needle, you stick your fingernail inside of that little opening, and the needle opens all the way from corner to corner. It's a double pointed needle, so it's very easy to use. You just stick your thread through there, and when you let it go, it will collapse back down, and you just start working with your thread. The thing you have to know, the further you open it up, the more it's going to stretch it out. Okay, so that's the thing you have to think about. But it does collapse back down, and you're ready to just keep stitching and beading and doing whatever you need to. Another great needle that's came along here in the last little bit is called a tulip needle. Okay, and I don't know if you can see it on here. This is a size 12 tulip needle. When they make regular needles, what happens is it smashes the hole. So one side of the hole is really nice and straight with no burrs, and the other side of the hole may be a little bit messed up. That's why some people have trouble with that. Thus, they come out with the tulip needle, and the tulip needle has a hole in the top of it that is the same exact thing all the way around. Oops, sorry about that. It's getting blurry. So, it's really easy to thread your needle with these. They are quite expensive. The place where I bought these personally, I bought these from a bead store elsewhere, and I want to say this tube right here was $8 or $9 for 2 needles, whereas a regular size 12 needle that has like 6 in it, which we call a pony bead, is $1. So they are a lot more expensive, but if you have trouble threading, this is a good one to use. You might also want to think, if you like using a lot of, like you go through them a lot, this is a size 12 needle, but it is a 24 pack of needles, so there's a lot more than what would be in a pack like this. Now, how do you thread a needle? Let me get my needle here. Alright, so this is a size 10 beading needle, and I'm going to use some regular 6-pound thread. And what I do when I thread my needle, the first thing I do is I either take my fingernail and I run across the very end of the thread, or I will use a pair of flat nose pliers and grab a hold, and what happens is the end flattens it out, because you've got to think you're taking a circle and trying to fit it through an oval. The next big thing I see people try to do is they try to take the thread and jab it into the needle. You are putting extra work on yourself when you do that. The best thing to do is to hold the thread between your thumb finger and your pointer finger. Then all you have to do is take the needle, lay it down in between your fingers and push, and when you do that, the needle has nowhere to go except for on, or your needle has nowhere else to go except for on your thread. So when you do that, you see I threaded it the first and second time with no problem. There we go. I'm trying to work with my left hand here, so this is not working out for me. But my needle is threaded, and that's what you need. Now, another customer emailed and said, I have a size 12 beading needle. I can't get that sucker threaded. It's the same thing. Take the very end of your thread and either flatten it out with your thumbnail, or grab a hold of the flat nose pliers, flatten out the end, and then do the same technique. Take your needle, slide it over the thread, and then it will pull through. What you may need to do, like I would need to do with this size 10 needle here, is just take it, and once you get it in there, use your flat nose pliers to grab that thread and pull. I do want to show you the 10-pound thread, because I've had some people say the 10-pound thread will not work. You cannot do it. And, I'm one of those people. Don't tell me it can't be done, because I'm going to prove it can be done. And so I'm going to take the end. Oh, let me cut this little end off here. It's got a bad burr here on the end. Alright, take the end, push it through, and sometimes it'll take you just a second to get it going here. And now that is a 10-pound thread through a size 10 beading needle. So it can be done. The next thing I want to talk to you about is cutting. Cutting your fire line that you use, or your wildfire. I've got several different cutting mechanisms. This one here is called the Color Bee. It's actually a scrapbooking cutter, pair of scissors. They're really, really good and sharp. That's why they give you this top to put on it so that it won't poke and cut yourself. But these are really, really good. And you could probably find these at craft stores like Michael's, Hobby Lobby, something like that. This right here, these are Westcott is the brand name of these, but these are just some little tiny scissors I found in our sewing department at Walmart. These are really, really good to cut your fire line and your wildfire with. My other favorite tool I like to use is the thread zapper, and when you use it, you can see the end lights up there, it gets hot and it'll cut your thread. The biggest thing that you have to worry about when you cut the thread, once you heat it up and you touch it, it's going to leave a little burr on each end of that thread. The problem is when you've got that little burr right there, it's hard to get your needle threaded through with that little tiny burr. So I normally just use one of my pairs of scissors or a really good pair of cutters like you would cut your beading wire with, and just go ahead and cut my wire and then start using it. Really, the only time I use my thread zapper to cut my thread is when I'm doing it on a piece of beadwork. The final thing you need to know is really not about threading your needle, but about thread in general. Berkeley makes a product called Fireline. This is what I use the most, and it's just because this is what I personally like to use. It comes in various sizes. As you can see, this is a 4-pound, which is called a size B. Then it bumps up to a 6-pound, which is a size D. Then they make an 8-pound, a 10-pound, a 12-pound, and as you can see here, it's just once you get up to past the 6 and the 8, it's just a poundage, okay? So, 4-pound thread works really, really good if you're just using seed beads, or you're having to go through a bead multiple times, like say a size 15 seed bead. A 6-pound thread is great for crystals, seed beads, kind of whatever you want. To me, it's that jack of all trades medium thread that you would use. I normally use 8-pound for most of the beadwork that I like to do, either the 6 or the 8, or you've got the 10-pound. I normally don't go over a 10-pound unless I'm using a metal seed bead. The 10-pound is really good if you want something to be really nice and stiff and tight. Another product that I carry in my store that I like to use is the Wildfire. I don't like the Wildfire as much as the Fireline, but I do use it and I do carry it. Wildfire comes in smoke. Well, they all come in smoke and crystal. Smoke is really good for things that you're going to stitch that are darker in color. Crystal is good for things that are going to be lighter in color or like transparent. They're transparent where you can see through them. So that'll just kind of give you an idea about the different threads and what they're used for. I have all of these here that you see in front of you are from my personal stash. These came straight out of my bead box. So you'll see these are sizes that I normally use a lot and keep in my own personal stash. So I hope you enjoyed the first installment of our Monday Must Know videos. And I hope that you learned how to thread your needle if you didn't know how to. And I hope you learned about the different needle sizes and the thread sizes and all of that. If you have any questions, please be sure to email me or send me a Facebook message on our Facebook page, and I will be happy to get those questions answered for you. I'll be completely honest with you, I'm horrible at answering questions on YouTube, and it's not because I'm trying to ignore you, it's just because I tend to forget to go and answer those. So like I said, if you've got a question, please, about your needle or your thread, please shoot me an email, or like I said, just shoot me a Facebook message through our Off the Beaded Path Facebook page. So I will see you guys Thursday for another wonderful video, and then be sure to come back next Thursday when I'm going to teach you how to finish off your memory wire with memory wire ends, and I want to show you the different kinds of memory wire. So I will see you guys later. I hope you have a fabulous week. Bye bye.